燕玲那边。好，各位弟兄姊妹们早。好，请我们大家安静心，准备今天主日崇拜。第138篇6到8节，我为各位念一下。第6节，耶和华虽高，但人看顾低微的人，他却从远处看出骄傲的人。我虽行在患难中，你必将我救活；我的仇敌发怒，你必伸手抵挡他们；你的右手你必救我。耶和华必成全关乎我的事。耶和华，你的慈爱永远长存。求你不要离弃你手所造的，求神祝福他的话语。那我们一起起立，用第一首诗歌来赞美神。凡有气息当赞美。你使我们相信，有了你生命的人，也能胜过死亡的权柄。当死临到我们的时候，我们不惧怕，因为我们已经有了你复活的生命。主要你的话语不但带领我们胜过死亡，也带领我们胜过世界上一切的苦难和挫折。我们可以靠着你去面对任何的困难和问题，因为你就是我们的盼望。主要今天我们求你让每个人不但能够得到你复活的生命，也让我们每个人能活出基督的样式来见证你，让我们真正能够经历一个属灵的生命，让我们真正能感觉到现在活的不再是我，乃是基督在我们里面活着。那个复活的生命真是我们所渴慕的，也是我们所盼望、所向往的。就求主让我们继续能够每天脱下我们的旧衣，换上我们的新服装，来跟主的脚步往前进。所以我们也求你在这边也能复活，将你复活的大能来复兴我们这个教会， 使我们这个华人教会能因你的大能传福音有能力，也能使接受你福音的人都能够像我们一样经历到复活的生命。求主保守下面一段的聚会，我们这样感谢、祷告、祈求，都是奉主耶稣基督的圣名，阿门。好，我们再有一首诗歌来赞美我们主，亲爱的耶稣。
世上
头做一个奉献祷告。天父，我们感谢你的恩典，让我们成为蒙福的人。求主天天能够继续加添我们每一个人的力量，为你能够工作，时时给我们属天的智慧，管理好你给我们的托付，特别是在善用奉献金钱，在你福音事工上面，也求主能够祝福我们，透过事工能够引领更多的人得救归主。我们这样祈求祷告，都是奉靠救主耶稣基督的名，阿门。好，我们今天读经的经文是在马太福音26章第6节到第13节，我们一起念一遍。第6节，耶稣在犹大里长大麻风的西门家里，有一个女人拿着一个玉瓶，对着香膏来，趁耶稣坐席的时候，浇在他的头上。门徒看见就很不喜悦，说：何用这样的枉费呢？这香膏可以卖许多钱周济人。耶稣看出他们的意思，就说：为什么难为这个人呢？他在我身上做的是一件美事，因为常有穷人和你们同在，只是你们不常有我。他将这香膏浇在我身上，为我传葬而做。我实在告诉你们，5天之下，无论在什么地方传这福音，也要述说这女人所行的，做个纪念。好，求主祝福他的话语。今天我们很高兴请到Brother Anil 弟兄，他以前来过我们教会1次，他现在是我们周联会的职堂同工之一。那么他今天带给我们正道的题目是在主前破碎自己。我们把下面时间交给 Brother Anil。
我先介绍一下。
好，介绍一下。
各位弟兄姊妹早安。今天我很高兴也请到我们的讲员叫Brother Leo Robela. He was born in Venezuela. Venezuela is a communist country, so we are brothers from communist country. So he will have a powerful message for us, okay? Brother Leo learned the importance of missions in evangelism and church planting from a very young age. For many years, he has been involved in worship ministries and has trained many worship leaders and musicians. So Brother Leo has planted 2 churches, one in Alabama and another one in Florida. He graduated from University of Mobile with a BM in church music, and also graduated from Southern Baptist Theological Seminary with MA in missiology. He graduated from Anderson University with MA in music education. He currently working on THM in biblical studies at the Midwestern Baptist Theology Seminary. He works with the Alabama Baptist State Board of Missions as intercultural missionaries. And he married to Tiffany Robala and have 2 kids. One is Celia and another one is Lee. 所以我跟大家中文介绍一下Brother Leo 他是出生在委内瑞拉，是一个共产党国家他从年轻的时候就非常了解传福音和建立教会的重要性。多年以来，他一直参与敬拜的施工，并且培养了许多敬拜和音乐施工方面的同工。阿列弟兄他建立了2间教会，一间在阿拉巴马州，一间在佛罗里达州。他毕业于阿拉巴马南边的摩比尔大学，他的专业是教会音乐。后来他又到南方浸会神学院深造，专业是宣教学。接着去爱德森University学习在音乐上面的这个专业。他目前也继续在中西部浸会神学院攻读神学硕士学位。他现在是在美南基金会阿拉巴马州联会工作。 他的职位是叫做跨文化宣教士，他跟我们是一起的，他是负责讲西班牙语的，我是负责中文，还有一位韩国弟兄是负责朝鲜语的，他的太太今年没有过来，还有2个小孩，他太太叫 Tiffany，他们2个孩子，一个叫申亚的，另外一个叫尹毅，今天没有他一起过来，我们就把时间交给brother 廖，我跟他做翻译啊，我的翻译 ，OK， 然后 please come here, please brother。
Thank you, Pastor Dawson, for the invitation.
不客气，他说我邀请他过来，他很开心。
And thank you, church, for having me here too.
也谢谢弟兄姊妹们，让他们来到这里，大家一起来敬拜主。
This is a taste of heaven.
这是一个来自于天堂的一个味道。
Many cultures worshiping the King of Kings.
我们有不同的文化，但是我们崇拜、敬拜万王之王。
So I am excited every time I have an opportunity
非常开心，非常兴奋有这样一个机会来到这里，
to worship with brothers and sisters from other cultures.
和我们一起来和我们不同的弟兄姊妹有不同的文化来一起来敬拜主。
And as we start the message today, I'd like to read again Matthew 26, 6 through 13.
今天想大家从里面马太福音第26章6节到13节。
So I will read one verse, and then Pastor Dawson will read it in Chinese.
You can read English only. Okay.
Only in English?
Only English, scripture and message I will translate.
Okay, I will read this in English, and this is what the word says. While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured out on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. Why this waste? They asked. This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor. Aware of this, Jesus said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly I tell you, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her."
这是刚才他用英文把这个经文读了一遍。
So this is a powerful story for many reasons.
这是一个很强有力的故事，原因有很多。
In Jesus' time, the tradition was to anoint people with cheap oil when they were visiting.
在耶稣的时代，当时的传统是有客人来造访的时候，主人会用一个比较便宜的油膏来抹他们。
Mary in the story had a perfume that was of high value.
但是故事中的这个玛利亚，她有一瓶很贵重的香水，
And she used this perfume instead of the cheap oil to anoint Jesus.
她用这种贵重的香水呢，代替那个便宜的香水来膏抹耶稣。
The only people worthy of being anointed in this way were kings.
在当时，唯一配得这样受膏的人，只有君王。
So the significance of this woman using this perfume of high value make us think that she is proclaiming Jesus as king.
所以呢，这个女人她使用这种昂贵的香水来抹耶稣的意义，让我们都知道，她是在传扬耶稣基督是主是王。
Not only did Mary pour this perfume on Jesus, but she broke the jar afterwards.
玛利亚不仅把这个香水倒在耶稣的身上，而且呢，后来她还把这个罐子给打破了。
The significance of this action is consecration. Mary decided that no one else will use the same jar that was used for Jesus.
这一个行动的意义在于奉献。玛利亚认为没有其他的人会使用与耶稣相同的罐子。
Jesus deserves the highest honor and highest praise, and no one else deserves the same consecration or the same dedication.
耶稣配得最高的尊荣和最高的赞美，没有其他的人能够配得同样的这种对待。
No one else deserves that we set ourselves apart for that person.
没有其他的人值得我们去这样对待他们，高我们一等。
Something else I want you to see in this story is the reaction of the disciples.
我想让你们在故事中看到另外一件事情，就是门徒的反应。
They said, "What a waste."
他们说这是太浪费了。
This perfume was worth almost a year of salary.
这个香水的价值几乎是1年的你的工资。
This perfume represented time invested in working.
这瓶香水代表了在工作在精力和资源上面要投入的时间。
Energy and resources.
精力和资源所投入的时间。
The disciples rebuked Mary because they thought this was a waste.
这个门徒来责备玛利亚，因为门徒认为玛利亚这是在浪费。
They thought it would have been better to sell the perfume and give the money to the poor.
他们认为最好的是把这个香水给卖掉，然后把这个钱呢分给穷人。
In other words, they are saying that Jesus was not worthy of such an investment.
换句话说，他们门徒认为耶稣不值得这样的待遇。
The title of the sermon is How to Live a Life of Brokenness.
所以呢，今天讲到的经文的题目是怎么样在主人面前过一个破碎的生活。
The example is that this woman broke the jar. So how can we live a life of brokenness?
这个玛利亚在众人面前把这个玉瓶给打碎了，所以我们今天的题目是讲过一个破碎的生活，怎么样过一个破碎的生活。
Number one, we must break the box of our time.
第一点，我们必须打碎我们时间的这个盒子。
When I was in college, I studied classical guitar.
在上大学的时候，我学的是古典吉他。
Sometimes I would practice a song for a semester or even a year before I could perform in front of people.
有时候我会在1个学期，甚至在1学年，来在众人面前来练习一首歌。
So imagine practicing 5 hours a day for a year so people can enjoy 3 minutes of music.
想象一下，我1年当中每天要练习5个小时，为的是让观众可以享受3分钟的音乐。
What that means is that you practice 1,040 hours if you practice 5 times a day for a whole year. 1,040 hours to please an audience for only 3 minutes.
所以这就意味着我在1年当中，我要练习1040个小时，为的是取悦观众3分钟。
So some would say, what a waste.
所以你们当中的一些人可能会说，真是太浪费了。
The worst part about this is that if you don't keep practicing that song, you will soon forget the music that you learned.
所以这一切最糟糕的部分还是就是说，如果你不继续的练习这首歌的话，你就很快就忘记了这首歌。
I can tell you now, I don't remember how to play any of the songs that I learned in college.
所以他现在很多时间他不记得他学了什么歌了。
Maybe you think, what a waste.
也许你们会想，真是浪费了。
But for me, it was worth it. It taught me discipline.
但是这对我来说，这是值得的，因为呢，教会了我怎么去自律。
It also taught me that talent and dedication go hand in hand.
他同时也告诉我，天赋和奉献是齐头并进的。
It taught me that everything worth living for is costly.
他也告诉我，任何值得为之而活的东西都是宝贝的。
Mary had spent time to get this perfume.
玛利亚不仅花时间去弄到了这一瓶香水。
The Bible doesn't say if she was rich, but we don't believe she was. So she had to take time to get this expensive perfume.
圣经里没有说这个玛利亚是否很富裕，但是我们不相信她是富有的，所以呢，所以她不得不花时间去弄到这一瓶香水。
So let's calculate if she worked 40 hours a week,
如果她每周工作40个小时的话，
she spent close to 2,080 hours to get this perfume.
她就要花一年的时间，她要花将近2080个小时来去获得这一瓶香水。
The perfume was gone in only a few minutes at most.
香水味道最多在几分钟之后就消失掉了。
So she prepared for 2,080 hours for an instant with Jesus, and this might seem like a waste of time for the disciples.
对耶稣的门徒来说，玛利亚准备了2080个小时的时间来为这瓶香水呢付出那么多是不值得的。
They were asking, why this waste?
他们不禁要问：为什么要这么浪费呢？
Mary was 100% sure that Jesus was worthy of her pouring something that took her a long time to get.
但是玛利亚是100%的确信，耶稣配得他花了那么长的时间才得到的东西。
Now here's the application. We live in a culture that is time-driven.
我们生活在一个时间驱动的文化当中。
If we're not careful, we make time for everything except for Jesus.
如果我们不小心的话，我们就会为耶稣之外的事情、其他的事情去花很多的时间。
Jesus deserves the best of your time, not the leftovers.
耶稣配得你花上最好的时光，而不是那些闲余的时间。
A relationship with the Lord takes time to cultivate.
我们与主的关系是需要我们付上时间的代价来培养的。
And this time spent with Jesus is not a waste.
与耶稣共处的这段时间不是浪费。
For us to live a life of brokenness, just like Mary broke the alabaster jar,
为了让我们过上过得破碎的生活，就好像玛利亚打碎了这个玉瓶一样。
we must break the box of our time and give God the best of our time.
所以我们必须要打碎我们的时间的这个盒子，把我们最好的光阴奉献给上帝。
And that means read the Bible daily,
我们每天读圣经，每天祷告，
pray daily,
每天的祈祷，
talk to others about Jesus,
与他人来讨论耶稣。
go on missions,
我们去宣教，
come to church.
来到教会，
All these activities are not a waste.
所有的这些活动都不是浪费。
Jesus is worthy. Give him the best of your time.
耶稣是配得的，配得我们给他最好的时光。
Number 2, we must break the box of our energy.
第二点，我们是必须要打碎我们的精力的盒子。
Let's continue with the story of music in college. It not only takes time to master new music, but it also takes energy.
继续那个音乐的那个故事，就是说掌握新的音乐不仅仅是需要时间，还需要精力。
There are times when you are tired. There are times when you get frustrated. There are times when you get discouraged.
我们有劳累的时候，我们有失落的时候，我们也有气馁的时候。
I remember I started getting tendonitis on my left arm and lower back pain from practicing that many hours.
就是我记得我的锻炼1个小时之后呢，我的左臂开始出现了肌腱炎，并且呢腰开始了疼痛。
Some people say everybody has only 4 hours of high productivity.
有人说每个人一天当中只有4个小时的时间是你高效率的时候。
After those 4 hours, things are not the same.
在这4个小时之后呢，事情就变得完全不一样了。
It doesn't matter if you work 8 hours or more, there are 4 hours of the day that are your most energetic hours.
所以说，不管我们工作的是8个小时时间呢，还是更长的时间，总之一天当中只有4个小时是你精力最好的时间。
So let me tell you, it took an investment of energy to buy this alabaster jar.
所以他为了购买这个装香的玉瓶呢，玛利亚是花费了大量的精力。
When you spend energy on something, that means something is important to you.
当你把精力花在某一件事上的时候，意味着这件事情对你来说是非常的重要。
When you spend the best part of your energy on something, that means that is the most important thing in life for you.
当你把最好的部分精力花在某一件事上的时候，这也同时意味着对你来说，这是生命当中最重要的事情。
So let me ask you a question or a few questions. What is taking the best of you?
让我来问听众们一个问题：什么时间、什么事情对你来说是最好的？
What are you investing the best part of your energy on?
你花你的时间和精力在那去干什么呢？
Mary thought it was worth pouring the perfume on Jesus.
玛利亚认为将这个香膏倒在耶稣的身上是值得的。
This perfume not only took time to acquire, but energy to work at it.
这瓶香水呢，不仅是需要时间来去获得，而且也需要精力去呵护它。
Once again, the disciples thought pouring this perfume on Jesus was a waste of time, was a waste of energy.
门徒们认为玛利亚把香水倒在耶稣的身上是时间的浪费，是精力的浪费。
They thought it would have been better to spend your energy selling the perfume and giving it to the poor.
他们认为正好是把精力花在去卖这个香水这个事情上面，然后呢，把这个钱分给穷人。
But Mary thought spending energy worshiping and anointing Jesus was worth it.
但是玛利亚认为花精力来敬拜耶稣和用香膏来膏抹耶稣是值得的。
Brothers and sisters, the energy you spend worshiping Jesus, living for Jesus, or even suffering for the sake of Jesus is not a waste. He is worth it.
所以弟兄姊妹们，你们在敬拜耶稣，你们为耶稣而活，你们甚至为耶稣受苦，你们所花的精力都不是浪费，是值得的。
We must break the box of our energy and give our best energy to Jesus.
我们必须打碎我们精力的盒子，把我们最好的精力奉献给耶稣。
Thirdly, we must break the box of our resources.
第三点，我们必须打碎资源的盒子。
And the story of music goes on. When I decided to get my master's of music, my teacher recommended me to buy a better guitar.
当我决定攻读音乐硕士学位的时候，我的老师建议我买一个更好的吉他。
The one I had was not at the level he wanted.
我已经有的那一把吉他呢，不是老师所要的那个级别。
So since music was my passion, I invested a few $1,000s on a better classical guitar.
所以，既然音乐是我的爱好，所以我要投资了几千美金去买了一把上好的古典吉他。
So hear me out. I bought an expensive guitar to study a career that didn't promise I would be able to support my family.
所以大家请听仔细。所以我买了一个很昂贵的吉他来学习了一份职业，但是这份职业并不能保障我将来能够养家糊口。
I was spending the best of my resources on my music career.
所以我把我最好的资源都花在了音乐事工上。
So I had the guitar, I've been accepted into the master's program. I was about to pay double for tuition because I lived in Alabama and the school was in Mississippi.
所以我有了吉他之后，我就被硕士课程录取了。因为我是住在阿拉巴马州，但是我的学校是在密西西比州，所以我要付上双倍的费用。
In addition to that, I needed gas money, lunch money, and money for dinner sometimes.
除此之外，有时候我也需要汽油钱，我需要午餐还有晚餐的钱。
But God stopped me.
但是上帝诅咒了我，
He said, "What a waste."
他说太浪费了。
He led me to stop my music career and use my resources to plant a Hispanic church in South Alabama instead.
所以他带领我停止了我的音乐生涯，并且利用我的资源，在南阿拉巴马州建立了一个西班牙语教会。
Mary proclaimed that Jesus is King by spending the best of her resources on Jesus.
玛利亚把她最好的资源花在耶稣的身上，宣告耶稣基督是王。
If we want to live a life of brokenness, we must break the box of our resources and give them to Jesus.
如果我们想过一种破碎的生活，我们必须打碎这个资源的盒子，把它交给耶稣。
Give to missions.
奉献给宣教事工，
Be faithful with your tithe.
忠实的十一奉献，
Give generously.
慷慨的付出。
The alabaster jar was of great value.
这个玉瓶是非常有价值的，
The cost of it was equivalent to a year of wages.
它的成本相当于我们当时的1年的工资。
In order to earn that money to acquire something that's valuable, it takes time, effort, and investment of resources.
为了来获得这个有价值的东西，我们需要花上时间，花上我们的精力和资源来投资。
Mary understood all this and still was willing to break the jar and pour it out to anoint Jesus.
玛利亚明白这一点，所以她很愿意的去打碎这个玉瓶，倒出来香膏来膏抹耶稣。
We must be willing to break the box of our time, energy, and resources and dedicate them only to Jesus.
我们必须愿意，我们花时间，我们要花精力和资源，我们把它只奉献给耶稣基督。
The disciples thought this was a waste of time, energy, and resources to break the alabaster jar to anoint Jesus.
门徒们认为把一瓶打碎来膏抹耶稣是浪费时间、浪费精力、浪费资源。
But instead, Jesus said, wherever the gospel is preached, this story will be told.
但是相反，耶稣说，无论传福音到哪里去，都有人会讲述玛利亚打碎玉瓶的这个故事。
We have missionaries in other countries who have broken their boxes of time.
我们有很多宣教士在其他的国家，他们牺牲他们的时间、他们的精力和资源来传扬耶稣基督。
Energy and resources to preach the gospel and live the gospel.
他们花时间，他们花资源、时间来传扬福音，并且呢活出福音。
So my challenge for you this morning
所以今天我早上我对你们的挑战是什么？
is that you consecrate the best of your time, energy, and resources for Christ.
你要将你最好的时间、最好的精力和最好的资源奉献给耶稣基督。
This is the best decision you could ever make. It's the best investment.
这可能是你能做出的最好的决定，是你做的最好的投资。
Pour out your life and proclaim that Jesus is King and worthy of the highest praise.
到处倾倒着你的生命，宣告耶稣基督是王，只有耶稣基督配得最高的赞美。
Amen. May the Lord bless you.
上帝保佑你。OK， 我们做一个祷告。我们感谢我们天上阿爸父，我们的救主，谢谢你的恩典，谢谢你召集我们基督徒们来这个地方，分别为圣来敬拜主。我们也感谢主，你差派 Brother Leo come here to preach for us, share the gospel with us, to tell the story about how to live a brokenness life. We thank you so much for giving us a beautiful blessing moment. We thank you in Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Mm-hmm. 好，谢谢 Brother Neil 的正道，还有牧师的翻译。那我们下面再用一首诗歌来赞美我们主，歌颂救赎主。 今天等一下，我们主日崇拜完了以后，照样每个月的月初我们有主餐，请大家领悟。第二个事项就是今天欢迎大家来我们当中，有第一次来我们当中的有几位，第一位是 Brother Neil 的 assistant. Can you introduce her to us?
The secretary.
Secretary.
Secretary, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Kimberly. It's nice to meet you. I work with Brother Arnell, the intercultural team, and I work with intercultural youth as well. I've been here in Alabama for 3 months, and I'm very happy to be here. And I'm a missionary. I work in Nepal and India and other countries, so thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
第二位就是欢迎 Cooper's family 来到我们当中，而且有一位新的朋友Sam， 他刚刚才到美国来，他今年只有18岁哈。我们回忆一下，我们18岁有没有人能走这么远的路到另外一个国度？请你自己自我介绍一下好不好？
我叫赛罗，我是来自中国湖北，然后现在在这里福克纳实习生。
请坐。据我了解，Sam全家都是基督徒，在国内就是基督徒，受尽的基督徒。我们欢迎你啊！好，还有没有别的要补充报告的？我们是有没有？还没有补充报告的？没有，我们一起起立唱三一颂。我信上帝，全能的父，创造天地的主。我信我主耶稣基督，上帝独生的子，因圣灵感孕，由童贞女玛利亚所生，在本丢彼拉多手下受难，被钉于十字架，受死，埋葬，降在阴间。第3天从死人中复活，升天，坐在全能父上帝的右边，将来必从那里降临，审判活人死人。我信圣灵，我信圣而公之教会，我信圣徒相通，我信罪得赦免，我信身体复活，我信永生。阿们。好，下面时间交给你。